Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, May 19, 2025, and in this episode I want to share my handwerk perikelen, that's a Dutch word for crafty adventures from this week with you. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, sometimes I love to sew, I'm working on that. And I love to talk, always. So that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, this week's episode will be a little bit different. I always make my episodes on Mondays, so I do the filming, the editing, the uploading, and also making the show notes and a thumbnail, all the work I do on Mondays. The only thing I do the rest of the week is knitting or crocheting. So that's quite hard working to make it done on time, so I can publish it, my episodes on Monday evening in the Netherlands. Monday evening it is. And it always worked pretty good. Hardworking, but I love hardworking, especially when I am having fun, so no problems. But since a few weeks, I don't really understand, but it doesn't work anymore. There is not really something changed, so that's what's confusing me, but somehow I am running out of time every Monday since a few weeks, and I don't like that. I don't mind hard working, but only if I can manage it. Hard working and not being on time or skipping things you also need to do is not what I want. So I decided maybe it's time to try a little different thing on the episodes. I love change every now and then also. So I did film some parts earlier this week, and for me that was actually quite fun, so I hope it also will be a lovely episode to watch. So I will bring you back to me a few days, I don't know exactly which days I filmed, but a few days earlier. In this episode I want to share all about my Sanna cardigan. I am wearing it. I made a change to the neckline, which is really making me happy. The only thing is that there is another little problem. I will tell you all about that. I also casted on my sweetheart sweater, and as you can see I added short rows to the ribbing. I share all what I did and where I found my information with you. I showed my casting on process with for the socks for my sister with this beautiful Sockyarn. I did a Turkish cast on. I didn't need that in the end, but I will share all about that too. And I made some changes to this cardigan. I also made some changes to this little tee. This is my Sommerknus. And I will share those with you too. So enough to talk about. I hope you have some knitting or crochet and some time, and I will show you the Sarah earlier this week, and then I will come back to you on this Monday. Hello, it is Wednesday, May 14 today. I'm in the middle of my cast on party still. I think I'm quite close to have casted on everything, maybe one or two left. And yesterday I casted on a new project, and I want to share some details about it, some thoughts about it, because I added short rows to that pattern. And that was maybe the first time I did that. I'm not quite sure. It was the first time I understood what I was doing. And that was because I found a very helpful tutorial. I'm not a tutorial maker. I'm also not a teacher. I'm just a knitter who is still learning all the things. And when you are a very advanced knitter, then I will not tell you anything new today. But when you are a beginner knitter, it might be helpful. So I love to share my inspiration. It is all about adding short rows. So let me start with a short explanation about what short rows actually are, because when I started knitting, I didn't really understand what short rows are, or how you needed to knit them, or when you needed to knit them. But short rows can be very helpful for a good fit. For example, this pattern, I picked this one because the short rows are very visible. This is my Sommerknus, still not lengthened. It's still waiting for that attention. But a little moment to shine. So I think she will be happy anyway. As you can see, this is a round yoke, and as you can see, the neck is higher than the front, and that's because of the short rows. You see a little bit of stockinette right here, and you see a much bigger part of stockinette at the back side, and that's created with short rows. When you are knitting a row, or actually when you are knitting in the round, you are knitting a round, but when you are knitting short rows, you just turn your work before you completed the whole round, and you do that several times. I will try to share a little bit more about that to show you, but when you do that several times, you create a little bit of extra fabric at the back, in this case, which might improve the fit of your sweater. You can place short rows on several spots. Quite often it's after the ribbing. You have some patterns with color work, for example, and sometimes you do have a plain short row part and then the yoke with the color work starts. You can also add short rows after the yoke when you love the look of the yoke directly after the ribbing. You can, when there is some room left, you can do them when your yoke is finished. And you can do them in a ribbing. That's what I did. Maybe there are more options, but then I don't know. You have two ways of making short rows, maybe more, but then I don't know them either. Wrap and turn or German short row. I don't really prefer one. Maybe if you really force me to choose, I would choose German short row, but I actually don't prefer one of the other. I mainly use what the pattern tells me to use, and that's mainly German short row. But when the pattern tells me to use wrap and turn, I love to do that too. Let me start with the pattern I will knit. I did show that before. It's it's the Sweetheart sweater. It's not mine yet because it's not existing. It's a pattern by Kutovakika, Veronica Lindberg, and it's in her newest book, Knits to Wear, which was released, I think, in the beginning of this year. This is the first time I will knit a pattern out of it. I did see a lot of lovely patterns I want to make, and I will start with this one because I just love the all over lace pattern. It's really, yeah, it gives me a little bit of a romantic feeling. I think it will be fun to knit. I think it will be an easy knit because it's quite, it's not a very busy pattern. It's quite easy and some repeats every now and then. And I really love the all over part. Yeah. So, the pattern doesn't have short rows. Oh yeah, I wanted to show that too. The pattern doesn't have short rows. And you can see that a little bit on this picture. You can see it's quite wide in the neck. And you can fill that spot in the neck with short rows, with some extra fabric. I love the look of this, actually, but I don't really love to wear it like that. I think adding short rows will improve my comfortness while wearing the sweater. But because the lace pattern starts directly, I can't see it myself, because the lace pattern starts directly after the ribbing, there's no room left for short rows, and I was doubting what to do. Would I add short rows, just a plain little bit of knitting at the back with the same as this one, and then start the lace pattern? Or would I add it to the ribbing, which is also an option? And I choose that option. But I'm very good in thinking things difficult. So when I don't understand something immediately, I think, oh, then it must be difficult. And then I think immediately, then it must be too difficult for me. And then I don't do anything. I don't check. I just keep thinking, oh, it's too difficult for me. I don't know, I don't understand. It must be too difficult. And the process slows down. And I know that now for myself, that I do that, but it's not always true. Quite often, things I am thinking they must be very difficult and too difficult for me are actually quite easy. And it was also with adding short rows in the ribbing. And I was helped very much by a lovely tutorial from Natasha. Let me check so I will say it correctly. From the Mostly Knitting podcast. She has a very clear tutorial about adding short rows in the ribbing, which made it so easy for me to understand, and especially the little drawings he made. Yeah, it was so helpful. And also which amount of stitches you need to pick was really helpful to me. So it is really easy. So I'm really happy I tried it anyway. My project is living in this lovely project bag. It is vintage fabric, very bright orange with the red and pink and blue flowers. I really love it. It's really giving me the vintage vibe and it's really making me happy. It's made by a Dutch project bag maker. Her name is Rachel Beers. I will link her down below. And this project bag was a gift from her to me. So yeah, it's a big one and I really love that because I have a big cone in it. And also I want to keep my pattern in this. So my book needs to fit in it. So it's really lovely. So all the things out of my project bag. I am knitting with Holst, not Holst Ghost, Holst Super Soft held double in the color Mouflon, and I bought it second hand. There is an Instagram account, a Dutch Instagram account, where you can sell and buy second-hand yarn, which is really lovely because sometimes you buy yarn and when you get home or after a few months you realize, oh, it's not my color, it's not really what I like, and someone else will be very happy with it. So that was happening with this one. I held a double, so I wind a yarn cake from the cone, and so I knit one strand from the cone and one strand for my cake. I started the ribbing on shorties because I am casting on all the projects in the same range of yarn weight. I'm running out of needles, and I have a lot of needles and also shorties. I'm not a really shorty lover, but I must confess, I think I made an important decision which made my shorty knitting life easier. I always try to knit continental on shorties. I'm a continental knitter, I think. And I always try to knit continental on shorties, and my hands don't like it. They can do it, but they don't like it. Now I needed the shorties because all my longer 3mm needle points were busy knitting other things. And of course I could pull them out of a project, put them on waste yarn or whatever, on a cable. But I thought, I have those shorties, so let's try. And when I was knitting the ribbing, I realized my hand wanted to knit English style. And I was knitting ribbing English style, and it was a little bit uncomfortable. My hand is really used on knitting English style, just the knit stitches. But I did a knit to purl to ribbing, and it was a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning, but quite quickly the movement felt more natural. So I think I can decide when I knit on shorties, I will knit English style, because then I can hold it much better and it feels better, as if it's I know a lot of people are knitting continental on the shorties pretty good, but I'm not one of them. So I think that will help me. What do I wanted to say about that? Oh yeah, the original pattern is not a knit to purl to ribbing, it's a twisted rib knitting. And I love the look of twisted rib, but I didn't want to do that in with adding short rows. I was not sure if that would be a problem when you have the twisted stitches. I would also be aware of knitting or purling in the back loop, and I thought maybe that's way too much to pay attention to. So although I love the twisted rib, I don't know if you can see it. Ooh, here. I decided to do a knit to purl to, and also it's a double folded neckline, and I didn't do that. I must confess, I think it's a thing. I'm not sure if I told it in my latest episode, because there were some things not going very smooth, so I needed to film some parts several times. So I don't know if I really shared my thoughts about that, but I think the knit stitch after a purl stitch is always looking a bit messy. I think it's a thing. I once heard that or saw it in a podcast or in a tutorial. I don't know exactly, but my knit one purl one ribbing is always looking much more messy than my knit two purl two ribbing, or than my twisted rib knitting, because I think it's the knit stitch after a purl stitch. And when you are doing twisted rib, then you knit it in the back loop, so it's twisted. So it's also looking much neater. So that's why I do not really prefer knit one, purl one ribbing. But I also didn't want to do the twisted rib, so I did choose knit two, purl two. Yeah, there it is. Knitting on Holst with Holst Super Soft is also not immediately looking right. I've heard that in Holst Super Soft there is some spin oil left, so there is really something happening when you are blocking your project, because with the wool wash and the warm water, the spin oil will I wanted to say solve. You can solve your problems. Can you also solve your spin oil? I don't know if that's the right word to choose, but I think the spin oil disappears. You know what I mean. That makes that the yarn will bloom and will look better, and your knitting work will really look better after blocking. And that's always a little bit of a hard thing to me, and I think to a lot of other knitters. I really love it when my knitting is also looking nice while I'm knitting. But now you have to trust it will be better after blocking, but you will block it when you finish. You can block in between, but I don't do that. It's looking a little bit messy every now and then, but it will be better after blocking. So that's also with this. It's looking a little bit rough, but it will be better. Let me think. I want to try to explain how I did knit the short rows, and I definitely recommend to watch the video of Natasha. I will link it down below, because her explanation is much more clear than mine, but I just want to share my thoughts about it, because yeah, I really love that I get it finally, and I can add short rows to any pattern in the ribbing if I want to right now, and that feels really as growing knitting muscles, and I love that feeling. Let me twist the camera to show you. Okay, I did pin my knitting down on the blocking mat because it was a little bit curling. As you can see, there is a different shape. There is a little bit of ribbing right here and much more ribbing right there. This is the back side, the back panel, which will be on my back, and this is which will be on my front. The beginning of round is right here. One of my biggest questions was, how do you know how to divide your short rows? I see, this looks a little bit wonky. I had no idea how to do that, but Natasha told in her tutorial that it's really working when you divide your amount of stitches in 3. So then you will know where to place the short rows. She explains how to add 4 pairs of short rows, and 1 pair is 1 part that way and 1 part that way. That's 1 pair. So it's actually 2 rows of knitting, 2 rows in pattern on every short row. So it will be 8 rows in total. So I decided to follow the 4 pair short rows. My total amount of stitches is 100, and you can't divide that in 3, but it's not very, it doesn't have to be so secure, so precise, I guess that's a better word. So when I divide 99 in 3, I get 33, but I had a very strong feeling that I want to do my short rows in even stitches and not in odd stitches. So I decided to go to 34. So that means 34 is the point where my biggest short row would be. Natasha also shared about increasing short rows and decreasing short rows, and I never heard about that, but I immediately knew what she meant, because sometimes the short rows start at the beginning and you go further, and sometimes you go at this point and you work shorter short rows back. She advises to do increasing short rows because it would be easier to knit your double stitches. So I followed that too, and also I love the feeling of the growing short rows more than the decreasing short rows. It feels more logical for me. I don't think it doesn't matter really, but it's just your personal preference. So I knew my biggest short row would be at 33. That's this point. There are 2 stitches in between every short row, so I did go back 34, 32, 30, 28. My first short row would start at 28. So I start at the beginning of round and knitted on the right side to 28 stitches. Then I made a German short row, turned my work, other way around. I turned my work, made a German short row, and I did knit back to the beginning of round. And then at the wrong side of my work, this knitting back was also the wrong side, I did knit 28 stitches in the knit 2 purl 2 pattern. 28 stitches, turned my work, made a German short row, knitted back on the right side of my work, knitted to the 28 stitches. There was the double stitch. I knitted the double stitch just as 1 stitch, knitted 2 extra stitches to 30, turned my work, German short row, knit back on the wrong side to the beginning of round, knit on the wrong side to 28, the double stitch, knit those together, then 2 extra stitches to 30, turn my work, German short row, knit back on the right side, knit on the right side until the double stitch on 30, knit the double stitch, knit 2 extra stitches, 32, turn your work, German short row on the wrong side, go back to the beginning of round, go on the wrong side to stitch 30, or yeah, 30, we were at 30, knit a double stitch at 30, knit 2 extra stitches, 32, knit a German short row, go back on the right side, knit a double stitch at 32, 2 extra stitches, make a German short row, your last one, go back on the wrong side to the beginning of row, on the wrong side either, knit 2, stitch 30, double stitch, and 2 extra stitches, German short row at 34, and knit back to the beginning of round. Now all your short rows are done, so 1 single round you are knitting all the stitches in pattern, and you will knit every double stitch you will come after as a single stitch, and then your short rows are done, and you have this shape. You have created this shape with 8 rows extra at the back and only a small amount of ribbing. I forgot to tell, I should have started with that. I followed the instructions for the pattern. It was a folded rib, a double folded rib. So I knitted half amount of centimeters, which was mentioned in the pattern because I don't want to fold it. And that was 11 rounds for me. And then I started the short rows. So now it has this shape. And it's actually looking quite funny. But I think the fit is okay, and I will show that to you. When it was still on my shorty needles on a very short cable, it was looking so small that I thought, how could I ever can get this thing over my head? And still, when it's on my longer needles, it looks a little bit small. So I was a little bit worried if that would be okay, but it also felt very stretchy, and I think it will be okay. So let's do a quick fit. And let's check if where my needles are coming out of my knitting, there's the beginning of round. So it's at my back neck. So I can see myself on camera, but not really good. And there is something not, my needles are a little bit tangled, I guess. they flip the other way around. Yeah, we are okay now. So if that's in the middle of my back, it should be this way. It's perfectly fine around my head, and as you can see, there's quite some more stretch. I can imagine, and I actually also hope it a little bit, that when I add the rest of the fabric, the weight of the rest of the fabric will stretch out the neckline a little bit. I don't love high necklines. I don't love it when they are quite close to my neck, but this round yoke sweater is a little bit of an experiment for me. I will tell a little bit more about that later. But let's go to the short rows. As you hopefully can see, there's quite some extra fabric in my neck at this point. When I would pull it through, the fabric in my neck, when it would be even, this part would also be filled with stitches, and that's not what you want. So this way you create a perfect shape. I really love to do it in a ribbing. I don't mind the difference in length of ribbing. I actually quite like it when it's this way. I think I like it even more when it's very visible as stockinette part at the back of your neck. Of course, you can't see your own back, so that's not really a problem. But I love the look of ribbing, so adding short rows to ribbing is really a helpful way for me when a pattern doesn't have short rows. Yeah, oh, let me keep it on. As I shared before, I always have some problems with round yoke sweaters, and my latest insight was because of the shape of my shoulders. I don't have sloped shoulders, or do I have sloped shoulders? My shoulders are quite straight. Maybe it is called sloped. I don't know. It's quite straight, and I always knit my garments quite fitted. Because I love the look of that, and I always thought that was the best option for my body shape. I like to wear wider skirts and wider dresses, and I'm quite a small person, so white on white is not really looking good at me. So I always love to have a tight upper part and a little bit of a wider bottom. But I was always struggling with the fit of especially the round yoke sweaters, and I love round yoke sweaters, the color work patterns, and I just love them, but they were always bothering me at this part, and I thought it was because of the wide neckline, but I tried several things with adding more short rows, making a larger neck opening. But my latest insight is that it was caused by how the fabric was shaped around my shoulders, and not especially the neckline itself. Because when I fitted a sweater from my girls, it was the sweater I knitted lately, also a Kutovakika pattern, the Bubblicious sweater. It's a dropped shoulder sweater with also a high neckline, and the high neckline wasn't bothering me at all when I was fitting that sweater. So that was interesting to me. So what I am trying at this cast on party is that I cast on all my patterns one size bigger. Did I already told that? Maybe. I'm sorry, I don't know. All one size bigger, and that's quite exciting because, yeah, I don't know if it will work, but I did organize two knitting days in February for some knitters in the Netherlands, and we did fit each other's garments, and that was really helpful. So you could fit a garment you never knitted yourself, or a size you never knitted yourself. And when I fitted two bigger sweaters, I realized this is actually looking good on me, and it's feeling good on me. I always thought that too oversized was not my thing, but it was actually better than what I always make. So for this sweater I did go up one size. I was doubting. I'm knitting size M, size medium right now. And the reason I am doubting, I still don't know if it's the good choice. Size medium has a finished bust circumference from 94 centimeter. My bust circumference is round about approximately 89 centimeters. So I always go quite close to that amount of centimeters. And in the pattern, there's a warning that the lace, the knitted fabric, the lace pattern will stretch out. Someone's coming home. One moment, please. Okay, that was my husband coming home. I didn't expect him this early. He had a trip for his job, a few days. And my first reaction was, "Oh no, are you home already?" So that was not really a warm welcome. But I apologized, of course. My alone time at home is quite rare at the moment, so I really need to pick my moments, and I thought I had quite some time right now to film, but I am at the end of my story about this project, so I will finish this talk and then I will give him the warm welcome he deserves. I did miss him, so it's good to see him back. Where was I? I think picking the size. Oh yeah. So the Sweetheart sweater is designed to wear with 0 to 10 centimeter positive ease. And I was a little bit confused by the photos of Kika herself, because in the pattern was also written that Kika, with a bust size of 89 centimeters, the same as I have, is wearing size S. Size small, and I thought, okay, I love the fit of this one. Yeah, but because of my shoulders, I really need to knit a size medium, and I even thought would size large maybe be better, because when I knit sweaters for my girls, they are much wider. They have a bust circumference from 105 to 115 centimeters, and that fit was actually also quite good for me, but it felt a little bit as a too big step for now. So it will be a little bit exciting how this sweater will be. I do trust on the blocking, I do trust on the stretching out. We will see. It's a little bit of an experiment, and I think the experiment is really useful right now already, because I'm really happy with my new skills, my new knitting muscles of adding short rows in ribbing, which is way more easy than I thought. And I absolutely recommend the tutorial of Natasha from Mostly Knitting. And I think, I didn't check that, but I think she refers to other tutorials about short rows. So maybe she has an whole series about short row knitting. So if you want to know more about that, go check her YouTube channel. I don't know her. She's also making regular episodes. I don't watch knitting episodes a lot at the moment because of the time, but I definitely will check one of hers. Okay, that was it for now. I will cuddle my husband and I see you later. Today it is my sister's birthday and I will make her a birthday cast on. I will knit her beautiful socks in this delicious hand-dyed yarn. It's from a Dutch dyer. Her name is Alexandra and her company is called Het Wolbeest. The woolly animal, I think that's the translation. I really love this colorway, especially because it catches both my sister's and my preferences color-wise. My sister really loves the teal and there are also some browns in it. She also loves the browns, but the colorway is called Chestnut and Teal, and I think, yeah, it's just wonderful. Yeah, so I will cast it on today. I couldn't make it to finish them before her birthday, and I must confess I love to cast on her birthday. Or do you say at her birthday? I did that for the first time, I guess, with my own birthday in November. I'm not quite sure if I did do a special birthday cast on before, but I received some sock yarn from my children on my birthday in November, and I decided to immediately cast on a pair of socks, my birthday socks. And the special feeling of that little present was catched into the socks extra. And last Sunday it was Mother's Day and I again received a lovely sock yarn from my children. No, from one of the children, from my daughter. And again I decided, okay, it was not my plan to knit socks for myself, but I definitely cast it on today. So the special feeling will be catched into the socks, because otherwise I have a lot of yarn balls and skeins, also from special moments, which are still waiting to be knitted for years. So I try to cast on as soon as possible. And especially with the special ones you receive from special people in your life, or you want to make for special people in their lives. And as I told last episode, I finished those birthday socks for my friends, not in time. I just wrapped the unfinished socks again. It's not important. This one. Oh, it's the sock blocker is a 3-dimensional print, and it's made from 2 separate pieces, but they are getting loose every now and then. I wrapped this unfinished project in some present paper, in some lovely paper, and I gave it to her, and later I finished them, and that worked pretty good. No birthday stress, no deadline. I really love that. And for my sister, there was no chance I could finish those socks before her birthday, and I decided quite quickly I will cast them on her birthday, and that also gives that little special heart jumping feeling. I feel extra connected with my sister today. I don't see her today, I will see her tomorrow, but I feel connected with her, and I hope she will feel connected with me too. I know she really loves to have hand knitted socks, and she loves those colors, so I will send her a message. I already did, of course, but I will send her a message when I'm in the minute that I will cast on the socks for her today. And then I have to decide the size, because I want to knit the same socks as those, just plain socks, stockinette, no stitch pattern. I want to knit them on shorties again, but I am not quite sure how many stitches to cast on, because I did knit my sister's socks before many years ago, and they were way too loose. So I want to ask her if she can fit this pair of socks, and when the size is good, I know how many stitches to cast on. So I will do a Turkish cast on, and then increase to a certain amount of stitches, and then it has to wait until tomorrow. Yeah, I will show you how to cast on, but before I will do that, I need to make a yarn cake of it. Okay, I made a beautiful yarn cake from my beautiful skein. It's always a bit sad to wind up such a beautiful skein, but this yarn cake is also beautiful, although it is a little bit messy. I have quite messy yarn cakes quite often. I hope the focus is right, I have no idea. I will cast on my sister's birthday socks, and I will do that with the Turkish cast on. I prefer to knit my socks from toe to leg, and that has all to do mainly all to do with the cast on. I love the Turkish cast on. It's very quick and very easy, and I prefer that one. When I knit socks from a cuff down, from the cuff to the toe, you need to cast on way more stitches, and you always need to be aware that there is enough stretch into the cast on round, because you need to pull those socks over your heel and over your leg. So that's a little bit more tricky. That's one of the reasons why I prefer toe up. The other reason is that when I make longer socks with longer legs, a little bit slouchy socks, it's less exciting if you have enough yarn. Now for the size, for my size and also for my sister's size, a 100-gram sock skein is way enough for one pair of slouchy socks. But if you knit toe up, you can just knit the foot and the heel, and then you can knit until you are on half of the yarn cake. When you do it the other way around, you have to be aware that there's enough yarn left for the toe. That's also not a big problem, but still I think this is easier. My favorite heel is the shadow wrap short row heel, so it doesn't matter for the heel if I knit toe up or cuff down. You can use it both, it's the same. I have this pair of needles ready. I will cast on magic loop and knit a toe magic loop, because that doesn't work on shorties. And I did discover a new favorite combination for sock knitting. These are 10 centimeters interchangeable needle points. Needles, 2mm, with a 35 centimeter cable. And that's actually my new favorite magic loop size knitting. I discovered it thanks to Geraldine, the owner of my local yarn shop, La Boutique Peridot. She borrowed me those needles. No, not those. I did buy them later. She borrowed me the needles, and she said it can be a wonderful combination, and it really was. The needle points are a little bit shorter than my normal ones. Those are 13 centimeters, I guess, or 15. Oh, I don't know now. And also the cable is shorter, but it's really holding nice, continental, and yeah, I love it. Okay, I will do the Turkish cast on, and then I will increase every other round until I have 56 stitches in total, and then I have to wait, because I'm not sure if my sister needs 56 stitches or 60 stitches. So I will see her tomorrow, and we will do a quick fit with the other socks, and then I know how many stitches she needs. So only a little bit of sock knitting today. I finished the little piece of the toe. I knitted as far as I could knit without deciding how many stitches I need. And I really love how this colorway knits up. It's really a busy colorway. The yarn is changing from color every few centimeters. So that means, it focuses on me. That means that you have a few stitches in a specific color and then it will change. So it's quite a busy colored fabric, but I really love it. I love the colors, but because the colors are so matching, it is still one piece, one whole. There is contrast in the colors, but they are still really connected. I think my idea to knit a plain sock with this yarn is still a good idea. My personal preference is to, when there is a lot happening color-wise, not to let much happening structure-wise. I know that's a personal preference, so other people feel other way about that. Think different about that, and that's perfectly fine. But I don't like it when a busy color pattern also has a busy stitch pattern. So a simply structured pattern would be fine, some ribbing or twisted rib or something, but I won't do that either. I will ask my sister what she wants, but I think I will completely be happy with a plain sock, a very long leg, a slouchy leg. So yeah, I think we will do that. I really want to knit further right now because it was really addictive. I really want to add some rows, but I can't. But lucky me, I still have a lot of other HeartJumping projects on my needles. I really discovered that's a big fun thing of a cast-on party, that I have all the projects which are making me so happy all. So I can grab any project and my heart is jumping. So that's really a new experience. I never had so many whips, I guess. And I received a question several times if it doesn't feel overwhelming, so many projects on your needles, but it doesn't, because I don't connect time on my projects. I don't have deadlines, I don't have personal deadlines. There's nothing I want to be finished on a specific date. Of course I want to wear some things, but it's not not connected on a specific, not related to a specific date. And also I don't feel the need to spread my knitting and crochet time evenly on all the projects. Some of the projects I cast it on and never touched it again since last week. Some of the projects I pick up and knit or crochet all the time, and that's absolutely fine. I try to do it intuitive. What do I want? What do I need? And the projects that I don't want to knit on right now, their time will come. So they are just patiently waiting for my attention, and I will give them attention when it's their time. I am still not ready casting on all the things. It is Thursday now. I think I need to do two. My love letter top and Nana the lady duck. So when I have all the things on my needle, I will count how many whips I have. That will be quite impressive for me. I know some people do have a lot of whips, but I never had. Yeah, as far as I am now, I'm really happy with my HeartJumping cast-on party. So yeah, I will grab another knit. I do. The only thing I think it's overwhelming is that I don't know where to save all the projects. They are on our. There's a shelf under the window. In Dutch we call it vensterbank. I don't know the English word, but I have all the lovely project bags on that shelf right now, and that's not the place they can stay because it gets dusty and it's just not. It looks messy. It's HeartJumping mess because it's are all flowered project bags, so I love that. But yeah, it's not for all the time. So I want to spread all the projects through my house. so I can pick up and knit or crochet on every knitting spot in my house, and that's really helpful. It's really nice to have all the projects and you can just grab something every time. So yeah, without getting bored. So cast on party is really a heart jumping thing for me so far. Okay, I was very happy with my Turkish cast on toe, but my sock is looking like this now. So it was not the best cast on what I needed. When I visited my sister and I let her fit another pair of socks I wanted to remake with this yarn, we realized she has a very deep instep. This part of the foot, and when you have such a deep instep, the shadow wrap short row might be too narrow for your feet. And I know there are some ways to create a bigger instep with the shadow wrap short row heel, and I know you also have other kind of heels you can knit for a deeper instep toe up. But I didn't feel the motivation to deep dive in that, and I realized I am in a such of refreshed love for the heel flap and gusset. I learned knitting socks with the heel flap and gusset many years ago, and I actually had no idea what I was doing when I was learning it. And later I discovered the shadow wrap short row heel, first the fish lips kissed heel, then the shadow wrap short row heel, and those were my go-to heels. But since a few months, yeah, I love to knit a heel flap and gusset every now and then. So I decide just to rip out the toe, cast on 56 stitches for the cuff and start knitting the cuff. I think the yarn knits up beautiful. It's making me really happy. I will knit a long leg, all knit to purl to, no border, no hem, no ribbing, the ribbing and the leg, it's all ribbing, so there is not a change. And then I will do a heel flap and gusset, and then I think I will knit all the stitches for the foot, so it will be nice and tight around her foot. So yeah, really lovely, and really enjoying that little sock knitting project. Okay, then what I'm wearing is making me really happy. This is my Sanna cardigan. I made it last year. It's a pattern by Rebecca Clow from last year, summer 2024, or spring then, actually, I guess. And I did a test knit, and I really love this pattern. I think the lace is looking adorable, especially when you are wearing a contrast color under it. There was one problem for me with the neckline. As you can see, my neckline is V-shaped right now, but that's not in the pattern. Rebecca does do quite many options in her patterns always, but I am quite sure there was not a V-shaped neckline in this pattern, because I would definitely have chosen that one. And I think it has to do with the lace, with the decreasing. It can be quite challenging with lace pattern. So it was a crew neck, but my crew neck was way too small. I couldn't close my upper button. It was far from closing. So, and I wouldn't wear it closed. I would wear it open, the upper part, the upper buttons. I wouldn't close them anyway. But it was a little bit a part of the pattern, and she changed it. It was a test knit. I was not the only one with that problem, but it was also a little bit part of me choosing quite a small size. So after finishing the cardigan, I thought, okay, now I have that neckline, and it was looking a little bit weird. There were two corners that were flipping in and out and not having any function and looking messy. So I decided to fold them to the inside and sew them down with a little bit of yarn, and it was looking as if it was a V-shaped neckline, so it was okay. And I did wear the cardigan all summer, very happy, it was okay. But somehow, every time I grab it now, in the next season, it was looking weird on me. I think it didn't dry correct. I did put it in the laundry, of course, but this part was really flubbery, not in a nice and neat way. It was really bothering me, so I didn't wear my Sanna cardigan, and I love the Sanna cardigan. So I was walking last Friday with a friend, and we were talking about making adjustments to your knitting afterwards. You have a finished project, and then you know how you can make it a little bit better after wearing it for a while, add some length or do something different, but finding the motivation for that is always quite a challenge. But I really felt it this weekend, also because we have very warm and beautiful weather for weeks right now, but last weekend there was a little bit of a temperature drop, and I noticed a gap in my wardrobe, in my handmade wardrobe. I hardly have anything with short sleeves. I have a lot of tank tops, and also cardigans with longer sleeves, but not much with shorter sleeves. So I thought I really need this. So I decided to start, and I did that immediately Friday afternoon, started ripping out the ribbing. Oh yeah, let me start. I was really thinking it very difficult. I thought, okay, to change the neckline, I have to remove the sleeves, undo the 3 needle bind off, undo some of this beautiful lace, and then start knitting over again and adding decreases for a V-shaped neckline. But then I realized maybe it's not so hard at all. Maybe I only have to undo the ribbing and pick up stitches as if it's a V-shaped neckline. So I thought, let's give that a try. And undoing the ribbing was quite challenging because I did afterward buttonholes. So a lot of weaving in yarn ends, and I had to search for them. And at some point I just cut the ribbing off because I didn't want to reuse the yarn because it's all knitted up and washed several times, very crinkly, so my ribbing would look very messy, and I did have some leftover, enough to make this change. So I did use that, and I picked up stitches, just knitted a ribbing, added buttonholes while I was knitting, no afterward buttonholes this time, and I realized it's perfect. I don't know, I think this is the point where actually the crew neckline is, but it's perfect this way. The fit is perfect. This is really exactly how I want it to be. The only thing is, and I have no idea, yeah, I can see it, so you can probably too, there is some color difference between the body fabric and the ribbing. This is a little bit darker. It is absolutely the same yarn, Sommerknus line. I think the colorway is called Café au lait. It's the same dye, the same color, only this is washed several times. I do wash my summer wardrobe things much more often than my winter wardrobe things, especially when they attach my skin under my armpits directly. So this is washed several times, and apparently it loses some color during that washing process. And I hoped it would be a little bit better after blocking, but only one blocking bath was not enough. There is still some color difference. This is a little bit darker. And yeah, I didn't really expect that. But it's okay. I'm so happy with the fit of this cardigan right now. I'm not complaining. This is absolutely, absolutely one of my favorite things to wear in this time of the year. And I hope this will stop losing color, so this can be a little bit closer to that color after washing it a few times. Okay, I was very motivated to make some adjustments to this cardigan. So I realized I was knitting the ribbing with 2.5mm needles. That was actually, those needles were actually knitting my sporty tank, but now they were free. When I finished the ribbing, I realized that I could use them for my Sommerknus too. I showed it before, I guess. I made it a little bit too short, so I added some length, and I will put it on so I can show you. So, this is my upgraded Sommerknus. Sommerknus is a pattern by Elsebeth Judith. I hope I say it correctly. Yeah, this is such a lovely knit. I enjoyed making this one so much. I made it last year. It was a very impulsive cast on. I knitted it in Fonty Bohème. It's a mix from cotton and linen. I think it is discontinued. I I think that was the plan last year. And I bought it to knit a test knit for Lerke from Fiber Tales, but I completely, how do you say it? It was one big frustration getting gauge for her pattern with the yarn. I messed up completely, and in the end I didn't even knit the test knit. And I was so frustrated about the yarn and about the test knit, and I couldn't do it, that I at some point I thought I really need a relaxing knitting project. And I casted on this project, the Sommerknus. It was in my favorites for quite some years, and I had a friend who knitted this pattern, and it suits her perfectly and lovely. So I thought that's what I need, and that was exactly what I need. I worked so hard on it. I was in my caravan. It was also the goodbye weekend in our old vintage caravan. I made an episode in that one, I guess. So, but it was very special knit at that moment, really satisfying. Sometimes you have those knits who really complete all your needs on every level. This one was such a knit and a need. I didn't swatch. I just cast it on 2.5mm needles, and I had no idea how it would work out, but I decided I will see how it fits anyway. I just want to knit and have fun right now. And the fit is perfect. This is actually the only round yoke, I guess, which is not bothering me by coming up. It's the perfect, it feels good, and the neckline is also quite wide, so, but it's as if it's correctly, as if how round yokes are actually meant to be. So this one is very good on my body. I don't know if that's coincidence or that it has to do with how she increases. I did try to figure that out, but I'm not, my brain doesn't go well on mathematics, so I don't know. But I really had fun with this, knitting this tee. I didn't wear it a lot because I knitted it quite cropped on my dresses, but last summer I had a little bit of a change from wearing dresses all the time, mainly hinterland dresses, to more and more skirts. And it was definitely too short to wear on a skirt. So I realized I need some extra length, and when I finished my Sanna cardigan and my 2.5mm needle was free, I thought, okay, let's immediately adjust this one. So I adjusted some length. I'm a little bit, it is not blocked yet. I finished it yesterday evening, and it wouldn't be dry for the filming the podcast today. I'm a little bit worried that it's too long right now, but this pattern, it has different segments. You have stockinette, you have ribbing, knit one, purl one, you have lace, you have another kind of ribbing, broken rib, and then stockinette. I'm sorry for the noise. I don't know if you can hear it. Yeah, of course you can hear it. It seems as if my neighbors are planning their noisy outdoor activities on Mondays. Every week. It's quiet all week, and on Mondays these are different neighbors, but they are building things in the garden, and I completely understand it because that job is done by working men. Yeah, it only happens on Mondays, and that's my filming day. But okay, it is what it is. So I didn't want to end the rib after a knit one, purl one segment, because I used knit 2, purl 2 for my ribbing, and that was not looking nice. I did try that for the sleeves because I lengthened those two, and it was absolutely not looking nice. So I did add an extra lace segment, and now, yeah, I don't know. Normally I put it in I tuck it in my skirt and I blouse it, but it's also not looking good. So I think it's okay. But I'm not sure. We shall see how it will block. After finishing the length of the body, I also wanted to adjust some length to the sleeves. The sleeves were quite short. I did lengthen the same segments. It was after this purl ridge there was the 2x2 rib, so I added one knit one, purl one segment and one lace segment, so it is this amount of centimeters longer, and I think it's much flattering. My arms are getting really flubbery I'm a 43-year-old lady. It's absolutely nice, and especially my knitting muscles are growing, but it's not keeping my arms from flubbering. So it is. I think I love the feeling of longer sleeves, and I also think it looks nice. So I am very happy I added some length to those too. Yeah, it needs a good blocking bath. The yarn really, the stitches are really improving by blocking. It surprised me. So I will do that, and I think I will cast on a new one very quick. I didn't invite the Sommerknus on my cast on party, but I do have the same yarn in black. And I really, I knew that when I finished this one. I really thought I need such a same tee in black, because it was so much fun to knit and it's so much fun to wear. And I thought maybe I can play with adding different stitch patterns between the segments. Yeah, it's just such a fun knit, never boring, and yeah, really really happy. So I really recommend the pattern. I also really recommend making some adjustments afterwards when you really feel that something you made is not exactly how you want it to be, and it's not always easy and quick. Sometimes there are bigger things needed, but I thought a very big thing was needed for my Sanna cardigan, and that was holding me back, slowing me down. And then suddenly it seems that it also could very easy in 1 hour or maybe 2. So that was really a relief, and yeah, making things easy. I am very good in making things difficult in my head. I can think things complex very well. It's my superpower, but it's very helpful to know that, because then you can simplify. I think simplifying is also one of my superpower. I'm such a self-fulfilling person. So complexing it, simplifying it, I am never bored. And it really worked. So maybe you have something on your shelves too that needs some attention. Yeah. It can be very satisfying to give it the attention. Okay, this was it for this week. Thank you for watching. I hope you will have a very nice week with a lot of heart-jumping moments, casting on something new, adjusting something old, and everything in between. If you don't have enough heart-jumping moments, create them, because we need enough heart-jumping moments in our lives. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you next time.